Hello. This is Jay here. This is my first try at making a video, so pardon any blunders. There will be a lot of them. So today I'm going to be talking about Active Directory. So not just Active Directory in the cloud and Active Directory on premises. So don't get too confused. Active Directory on premises, just simply put, is this is it here. Let's assume you have an office building with a server and it has Windows Server running on it, then you have Active Directory running. So when you hear Active Directory on premises, let's just assume it's the server you have running in your office physically. Now there's also Active Directory in the cloud. That's Azure Active Directory, and that is the cloud service of Active Directory. Similar purposes, one is in the cloud, one is on-prem. What do these two things do? Basically, they manage devices and they manage users. So in your office, you have computers. The computers are managed by these servers, by the Active Directory servers. So configurations could be anything from deploying operating systems to updates to patches for your system to installing applications. There are certain times you switch on your system and then it says restart for update. So yeah, those are certain things that you can do with Active, not just Active Directory, Azure, and there's SCCM as well. SCCM is another server on its own. I included that here because I'll do a brief description of that. It all comes together. So basically, SCCM, which is currently known as Configuration Manager, Active Directory on-prem, and then there's Azure Active Directory. These are just meant to not just manage the devices and the users. It's meant for security. It's a whole lot that goes into it. Azure Active Directory, this is more modern, more granular, has more functionalities to it. SCCM basically it's used for let's just say deploying application, operating systems, things of that nature, patches. Active Directory on-prem, similar as well, is used for you could deploy operating systems, you can deploy applications, but a lot of companies usually use a mixture of both. A lot of companies have Active Directory on-prem and Azure as well, and they have SCCM running on the same Windows server where you have Active Directory. Certain companies they just host everything on the cloud, but basically it's to manage the devices and the users. Good. So basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you Active Directory on premises, Azure Active Directory in the cloud, and a server running SCCM, and then a client machine, which could be your laptop at home you use to work or your office desktop you work with. So let's start with these. I have I have three. Oh, okay, so I have VirtualBox running here. I have about 10 virtual machines currently running on it. I have Hyper-V. I have about 10 virtual machines currently running on it as well. I have VMware Workstation. So on my VirtualBox, I have about what now? About eight Windows machines. I have three Windows servers, two SCCM servers. I have two client machines running Windows 10. I have one running Windows 10 32 bits. The other ones are 64 bits. I have one Linux Ubuntu server running on here. I think I'm hosting a file storage on there. Can't remember. On my VMware workstation, I have on my VMware workstation, I have three VMs running on it. I have three Ubuntu. Okay, I have two Ubuntu and one Kali, I think so. Then what else is here? This is where I built all my virtual machines that I'm using for these purposes. For this, so you could use any, you could use VirtualBox, you could use Hyper-V, you could use Visual VMware Workstation as well. But I'll recommend either VirtualBox or Hyper-V for your labs. Cool. So now let's open the virtual machines. First of all, let's open the Windows server where we have Active Directory currently running. The cool. So basically, this is Active Directory. This is a Windows server actually. Let me show you the server real quick. This is a Windows server running here. So this is a Windows server. This is what you call a Windows server. And in this Windows server, you have Active Directory, which is the Active Directory on premises. Now, this is what Active Directory on premises looks like. And in this, you have, yes, this is what the Windows Server interface looks like. This is what your Active Directory service looks like. So you have workstations, which are your client machines. So each of these devices represents your laptop at home, your desktop in the office, and then you have users as well. I have some random users I've created, John Doe, Mofair, just random users, right? So basically, this Windows server that has Active Directory running on it manages users' devices, their security, everything. Cool. Now that is Windows server with Active Directory on premises. Now I'm going to show you Active Directory in the cloud. So this is what Active Directory. Okay, let's begin from here. So you first of all you go into the Azure portal, and then from the Azure portal you have Active Directory in the cloud. Now Microsoft have changed the name to Entra ID, means the same thing. Now in here, if you pay attention, like I showed you on the on-premises server, on here as well you have users that you're supposed to manage, right? So basically it has a lot of functionalities, but basically I'm just giving a basic overview. You have users here again, right? Same way you had on-prem. And then you have devices. Devices is somewhere here. And then you have devices also, which are your client machines, your laptop at home, XYZ. Apologies, this I don't have a license for this currently. It's expired. I'm going to get a new license. Microsoft has not been very friendly with their licenses. So good. Now, so that's established. So this is Windows. This is a Windows server with Active Directory on-prem. This is what it looks like. This is a Windows server. This is Active Directory, Azure Active Directory on the cloud. Cool. Just note the difference. Now, this is a client machine, so I would assume this is your laptop at home. So I would assume this is your laptop at home, right? Cool. So whatever you're doing at home, we don't know what you're doing at home. We kind of know, but so it's a work laptop, so we expect you to be working with it. So you're doing yada yada yada, whatever you're doing on it. Cool. I have another device here as well. Let's assume this represents your device, your desktop in the office, right? One has fallen out of my domain. I don't know which now. I think the first one. This is still on the domain. This has fallen out of the domain. I don't know why. I'll figure that out later. Okay, so cool. So basically we are using this server to manage this your device. Let's assume this is your desktop in the office, and this is your laptop at home working remotely. So basically this manages these. So I could give you an instance. Let's assume usually you should be able to access your network functions on your device, right? Now, an example of this is I could use this Windows Server on-prem. You could use the Azure Active Directory as well to stop you from accessing. This is just basic, from accessing your network services. Okay, cool. So this works. Cool. Right. So this usually should stop you from accessing your network service. So let's assume it's a setting I created on here on this server to stop to restrict your access from going into your network. Usually, you should be able to go into your network. Another simple instance is for your device at home, let's say your laptop, you try to connect a USB stick into it, and for whatever reason, it doesn't read the USB stick. So there might just be a configuration that has been deployed here on the Windows server here that stops you from accessing that. So it's not just this you could use to apply these configurations on users' laptops. You could use what we call SCCM, also known as Configuration Manager. Um, so I have one running here. I'm just going to sign up real quick. I have my SCCM server separate from my Windows server where I have Active Directory. So this is completely another server I could show you so you can see it. So boom, brand new server similar to that one. So that just replicates not in the entirety of everything, but it replicates certain things on here. Boom. I'm not going to go into all of that. So this is SCCM or configuration manager. So basically what this does is, this is different. Please keep in mind, this is completely different from this on-premises server, right? Okay, let's ignore this SCCM server for a bit. So now I've spoken of this Active Directory on premises. Now this is Active Directory in the cloud. This is what it looks like, completely different. Cool. Now let's go back to the SCCM. So you see the interfaces are completely different. Now this is a Windows configuration manager. This is an SCCM server. So what this does is it manages your devices as well. But this is more granular. So when I keep saying managing devices, but there's more to it. But I'm just being very basic about it so you understand what's going on. So this SCCM server, right, helps you manage these client machines as well. These client machines. So these machines are your laptop, like I said previously, your laptop and your desktop at home. So we could deploy softwares to it. I can show you an instance. So I've deployed Chrome. You can see Chrome on here. Let's say this is your laptop at home. You put on your laptop and suddenly there's Chrome on it. Someone deployed Chrome and it didn't just magically appear. Let's assume you didn't download it. SCCM is taking its time, so cool. I can show you. So we could go in here. There's something called software library. I'm not going to go into all of that, but let's keep that in mind. Sorry, software center, software libraries, SCCM. Software center on the client device, which is your laptop at home. If your laptop is connected to SCCM, this would have been deployed on it already. So we're going to now back on the SCCM server. I just want to show you something real quick. So hit applications. I just want to show you an instance of what this does. Right? Cool. So let's say applications. Let this just load up. Cool. So while this loads up, something else I want to show you. So for all these to work, right, you have to network them. So by network them, I mean these devices they have to be able to talk to each other for these deployments to work, for these configurations to work. So when you are managing the users and the devices, they have to work, right? They have to be interconnected. So you have to network these devices all together. Since it's taking its time, I'm just going to show you real quick. So something you call there's something you call there's something you call static IPs. So cool. You could configure static IPs on these devices that are running, these virtual machines that are running, so they could network and talk to each other. SCCM is taking forever. I'm not sure why. Cool. So if you go into the internet, you could come to your adapter setting. I just want to show you the configurations, right? Cool. So these are this is the static IP configurations I put on my Windows server so they could talk to each other. So the IP address of the Windows server is 192.168.1.10. Cool. Now if you come here to my SCCM server, right, and I go into the network, the network configurations, take note of this, and I come into the SCCM is taking its time today. And I come into the network. Okay, cool. Let's see if SCCM is loaded up. SCCM is taking its time today. Cool. So this is the network for my SCCM server. This is my network. You know what? I'm not going to go into all of this, but you have to network them together for them to work. For something like Hyper-V, you have to create a network switch. If you can see here, I created a network switch for Hyper-V to work. So this network switch connects with your hotspot, your Wi-Fi at home. Cool. Now with this as well, this is just a basic explanation. With this as well, I'm using my Wi-Fi at home, the IP of my Wi-Fi at home as the DNS server. So this acts as a gateway for me to reach the internet. That's why these devices can reach the internet. So I can show you real quick. I could I could come into PowerShell. I could run ping commands. Let's see, let's click this. Let's say IP. I'm on my Windows server now. Let's look at the IP address. So it says 192.168.1.10. If you come into the SCCM server, you would see that the IP address of the Windows server is what I used as my DNS server. So that's why they can communicate. So I can show you some more. Oh, I'm back on the Windows 7 now. Sheesh, that's completely wrong. Pardon me. Everything is really slow today. Cool. Since everything is taking its time. Right. So that's just a brief explanation. I will do a better video. So basically, if you come into your client machine as well, cool. This has finally opened. Let's see if SCCM has opened. It's just taking. I think something is. I think things have opened. This is unusual. Oh, this is just unusual. Cool. So SCCM has finally loaded up, and these are some of the applications that I have deployed to, let's assume, your laptops are home. Cool. So you can see Notepad here. I have deployed Notepad to your laptop at home. I used SCCM now for that deploy. I used SCCM for the deploy. What else? I have also deployed Google Chrome, which you see here. You can run updates as well, whatever it is you want to do. Cool. What else? So basically, these are just these. So Windows Server Active Directory is used to manage the devices, SCCM server. Same thing as your Active Directory, the same thing. Cool. So inside here, I could, let's see if the DNS is working first of all. So I would try to ping Google, right? Cool. Let's see if that works. So basically, this works. It's sending packets now, and you can see 0% loss for packets received. So that works. You could check it even further. Good, that works. Cool. Now, what I could do just to show you that these have to be connected for them to work. I could come to, let's assume, your device at home. Let's assume your laptop at home. So cool. Let's assume this is your laptop at home, right? Boom. Let's go in here. We could say okay, cool. I've done this previously, but let's say CLS IP config. This is your laptop at home. Now I'm trying to figure out your laptop at home. So your laptop at home, your IP address is 192.168.1.0.101. Cool. So we could try to ping that. I'm just showing you just to show you there's actual connection between these. That's why there has to be a connection between these for them to even. This is very important. You have to network these together. So cool. Got something wrong there. There's an F in the ping. Okay, cool. So look, it's pinging completely. So basically, this just means they are all in communication. Again, 0%, it receives 4 packets. Cool. So something else you can do is you could also use scripts. So you could write your codes to deploy your configurations, or to create users, or to create virtual machines. It's basically depending on what you want to do. So I could show you. So assuming we have users here on the Active Directory. So again, it's back to Active Directory on the Windows server. So here we have some users like I showed you: John Doe, Mike Sims, Mufet, whatever. These are just random users I created. So you could also use PowerShell to create users as well, just so it's so you can make it automated, and then you have like proper configurations, and then it minimizes the risk of having errors. So basically, this is let's assume you are a new user and you just joined the company. We have to create an account for you. We get your name, your surname, email address, XYZ. We have to put you on Active Directory, and then we give you a laptop, and then all these will register in Active Directory. That's why it's so important. So you join the company brand new, we have to register you on Active Directory. So that's your name, your details, the device that we are handing over to you for it all to be managed. So you could do that on PowerShell. You could just write your script here. We could create a new user and just say this is how you create a new user on Active Directory. So a new user on Active Directory. So this is really acting up. I think so so first of all you specify the name, let's say John Doe, specify the given name, let's say first name John, first name John, you can say surname, let's say Doe. You could also create an email address for the user, because if you join a company brand new, definitely you're going to have an email address. So it could be John Doe, this gmail.com, whatever. Also we have to set a password. Password. Okay, so we can set a password for this. Set a password as well. You could convert this to a string, to a secure string. Actually, not just a string to a secure string. These are not important for this lecture, but again, it's just for password protection. So let's say your password is password 123. Cool. Text. This is not important now. I'm just doing all of this. Um, cool. Enabled. Enabled. So basically, this is just to create an account for the user and activate the account. So this is how you do it on PowerShell. You just write your code, write your script. You can also provision new VMs. So these VMs I have running, you can also provision new VMs.